You ever see a man walk through fire and come out cleaner than he walked in? That's what we're witnessing right now. The prosecution just rested their case in the Diddy trial. And what a case it wasn't. They paraded in accusers, they recycled allegations, they tried to paint this man as a monster, a villain, but when the smoke cleared, they had nothing. Not a solid witness, not a smoking gun, not one undeniable truth. Let's be real, this wasn't a trial. This was a witch hunt with HD cameras and media headlines. From the moment the accusations hit the net, the world hit pause. Diddy, a name that shaped the culture, was now being dragged through the mud. And for what? Because the prosecution thought they had a story they could sell to the people. A broken man, a drug-addicted mogul who couldn't tell night from day. They thought he was asleep at the wheel. But let me tell you something. Men like Diddy don't sleep when the world is watching. They scheme, they study, they strategize. See, when you're addicted to power, no drug competes. When you've built empires out of sound and hustle, your worst night is still 10 steps ahead of their best move. Diddy didn't take the stand. The defense didn't call a single witness. Why? Because they didn't need to. They let the prosecution bury themselves. This man sat back in court, leaning in, whispering in his lawyer's ear, not like a man panicked, but like a CEO overseeing his next acquisition. They thought the gas in his tank would run dry. But getting gas don't change how you drive. It just lets you go further. You think Tyler Perry ain't seen this playbook before? They're coming for him now too. One of the few black billionaires who writes his own checks, suddenly accused. Why? Because he turned a no into opportunity for someone, and now that someone wants a payout. We've seen this script. Powerful black men targeted, not because they did something wrong, but because they couldn't be controlled. And when they couldn't find the scandal, they tried to build one. Out of text messages, moments twisted out of context, and late-night whispers turned into front-page drama. But the truth? The truth don't need a soapbox. It just needs time. And now that time has come. The curtain's closing on this trial. And guess who's still standing? Diddy, no tears, no breakdowns, just a calm, collected, calculating man who's been 10 steps ahead this whole time. And when the dust settles, they'll realize he wasn't the one asleep. They were. This ain't just about a trial. This is about what happens when you threaten the comfort of the system, when your success becomes too loud, when your presence becomes too big. But let this be a message to every man out there who's been dragged through the fire. They might set the blaze, but you choose whether you burn or build. And Diddy, he's still building. You know what's crazy? When you can't win the game, you try to change the rules. That's exactly what's happening right now in the Diddy trial. The prosecution, after weeks of testimony, headlines, and camera clicks, is now trying to quietly strike certain charges from the record. Why? Because they know they've overplayed their hand. They sold the public a movie trailer full of fireworks. But when the lights came on, there was nothing behind the curtain. Now, instead of proving their original case, they want to reshape it into something smaller, something easier, something they hope a jury can swallow without asking questions. They're not seeking justice. They're seeking a shortcut to conviction. See, when prosecutors realize their full-blown case is collapsing, this is the tactic they use. They strip down the charges, hoping the jury will say, well, maybe he didn't do all that, but let's get him on this. It's not about truth, it's about optics. It's about winning at any cost, and what they're hoping, no, counting on, is that the jury will fall for the bait. They think if they trim the fat off the charges, hide the big failures, and repackage the whole thing with a new bow on top, they might just sneak away with a W. But Diddy sees the play. His team sees the desperation. And honestly, so does the public. Because once you start removing charges, what you're really saying is, we didn't have it, we never had it, we just wanted him guilty of something. Let that sink in. They came in with a sledgehammer. Now they're leaving with a butter knife. This ain't about guilt. This ain't about victims. This is about saving face, because deep down they know this case fell apart the minute it had to face real scrutiny. And let me take it a step further. When you're a man like Diddy, A man who's moved mountains, made millions, changed the sound of a generation. They don't just want to beat you, they want to shrink you. And the fastest way to shrink a legend is to hang a single charge on him, even if it's not the one you started with. They want that headline, they want that win, even if it's on paper-thin charges that weren't strong enough to lead with. But hear me now. If they have to rewrite the rules just to land a punch, then they already lost the fight. And in the end, what the jury and the public should ask is simple. If your case was so strong, why did you have to change it? Don't let them rewrite the ending just because the script flopped. Because if they can do this to Diddy, they can do it to anyone. And the next time it might not be in front of cameras. It might be in silence, behind closed doors, with no spotlight to expose the strategy. This isn't justice, this is theater, and the curtain is closing, and fast.